You're listening to Inside Real Estate with Irv Tremblay on Newstalk 980.
Irv, good to see you again. How have you been?
Great, Dave.
We're kind of rolling through the beginning of the new year here,
Yeah.
2011. We had a chance to chat on actually very first day of the new year,
Right.
January 1st, and we were talking about some of the expireds. There's kind of this magical December 31st. A lot of agents just write it arbitrarily, even though it might not be a full 3-month contract or something else, and kind of the psychological factor of what, it's going to take me until next year to sell my home if they were
Sure.
listing in late October or something. And what about people who are sitting here now, partway through January, and their listing expired on New Year's Eve? What should they be doing? What should they be looking at right now?
Well, the first thing I think, most important thing that they should do is pick up the phone and call 790-3753 and call me.
Turn the key with Irv,
Sure.
absolutely.
Because I love expireds, and they can list with me or they can ask me advice. And, my love of doing expireds and listing expireds has caused me a lot of problems in the real estate industry over the years.
How in success causes you problems? How?
Well, it's funny. When I got in the business 20 years ago, I went to work in an office. I didn't know anything about real estate, and there was a couple guys in the office, and they were big producers, and I just kind of watched what they did, and they called their past clients, they look after their clients, they were well trained, they took training out of the country, and they had a good trainer, and expireds used to be published every Friday, and every Friday all the expireds for the week would be published, and there was only one computer in the office. And I'd see these two guys there, and they're pulling out these expireds, and they're printing them, and they're cutting them, and they couldn't hide from me because there's only one computer.
And it's kind of right there.
I can see what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, looks like a pretty good idea, and these guys, seem to be doing pretty well. And they'd call for sale by owners, and they'd call their past clients, and they looked like pretty good agents. So I started calling expireds and being trained on how to relist property and change things around and getting it sold. So getting back to why it caused me so many problems, agents who fail to sell their listings don't want you to relist those properties they failed at. Don't ask me why. I think it's kind of like, you were in high school and you had a girlfriend and you broke up with her, but you didn't want anybody else to go out with her. So it's kind of like that.
Okay.
So I remember doing an expired one day, and I'm by the computer, and we had this very nice lady that worked in our office, and I pull out this expired, and I'm reading it, and it failed to sell, and so I'm going to call the people up to see if they're going to interview another agent and see if I can help them out. That's what it's about. And this lady came up to me, and I was pretty new in real estate, and she's beside me, and she's very soft-spoken, really nice lady. She's not in the business anymore. She says, "Irv, what are you doing?" And I says, "Well, I'm pulling out this expired listing. It didn't sell, and I'm going to call the people and see if I can go over there and relist it and get it sold for them." "You call expired listings?" I said, "Yeah." And she actually kind of moved away from me and said, "You're not one of those, are you?"
Uh-oh.
So agents have a funny view of expired listings. And my view is that my job in real estate is to help everybody I can get their home sold for the right price and right terms.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter if it's been listed by somebody else. Obviously, there was something not right in that listing or it would have sold. All homes will sell with the right things done to them, right?
Yeah.
So expired listings are one of my favorite things to do, but you get pretty unpopular with other agents when you do expired listings. That's never bothered me because I like to be popular with clients, not necessarily agents. Yes, I like agents, but if I relist their property and sell it, a lot of agents don't like that. If I have an expired listing and I can't get it sold and I fail, anybody can sell it, and more power to them. They got the job done for those clients.
Well, last time we were speaking, though, too, you said, in essence, if a home does not sell and a listing expires, one place to point a finger, and that would be at the agent.
Absolutely. And so we talked last show about the reasons, and we started out with access as one of them, access to the property, the reasons homes don't sell. So if we look at those expireds that expired on December 31st, and I go through them, let's look at one of the reasons they don't sell. Hard to get in the property. You know, you read some of these listings, and you'd really have to have a SWAT team to get into them. You know, you really would. You know, no showings, between 10 and 11. Don't call after 7 p.m. Having Rough Rider party on the weekend, can't show that weekend.
Now, see, that'd be a great time to show.
Exactly.
Anytime you got, rider gear on, it's all good.
Yeah, so, you have to have access. And the reason you have to have access is because if there's lots of choices, agents want to be able to get into the property as easily as they can.
Path of least resistance.
If you go through expired listings, often you're going to see access is denied or not very easy to get into the property. Listen, if you're selling your home, it is going to be inconvenient. There is no way around it. And I don't mean that you have to let somebody in 24 hours a day with 2 minutes notice, but it's going to be inconvenient, and you have to work to let the agents in. Help them out as much as you can. So many agents are weak when it comes to this. They'll go out on an appointment, the seller says, I don't want any showings after 6 p.m. or I don't want this, I don't want somebody showing in the middle of the afternoon. Instead of the agent explaining why that could cause them a problem, they're order takers. Oh, no problem. I'll put that on the listing. That isn't good. Access is a problem. 2, signs. Number 2 on the list is signs. I'll go through all these. No signs. And so again, the seller will say, that nice, amiable agent will go out there, and the seller will say, I don't want a sign. They don't even ask why not. Oh, no sign, no problem. They just want to agree with the seller. When you go to your doctor, the doctor doesn't really say that to you, and so we should be the same. If it's going to help sell the property, we have to explain why.
I was going to say, because a lot of times you talk about different forms of marketing a home, passive versus active, and I hope to get into that a little bit too. But a sign seems kind of passive, isn't it? Just kind of sitting there in the front yard. Why is a sign a good thing?
Sign's a good thing. And here's, before I get to that, here's the reason so many people tell me they don't want a sign. Oh, I don't want anybody to know I'm selling my property. Oh, Irv, I don't want the neighbors to know. My job is to explain why it's important that the neighbors know. And they're going to know. They probably know already when I drove up.
Yeah.
They see that funny little guy going in there. Oh, yeah, that's Irv Tremblay, right? Yeah, they must be selling the house. So, to say I don't want anybody to know. When you're selling your house, you want the world to know.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to get it sold, and that's typically how you're going to get the most amount of money. But the agent will say, oh, yes, they got their little pad there. Oh, no sign, no problem. But they don't tell them the downside. And if I said to you, Dave, we sell 15 or 20% of our homes off sign calls, you'd think it was pretty important. That's the kind of information I should be telling a seller. And you want your neighbors to see that sign. It's not that your neighbor's going to buy the house, but your neighbor may
likes
have a relative.
The area, has friends that come to visit for dinner. They go, what a nice area.
Absolutely.
They pick up the phone and go, hey, you know what? 3 doors down. Opportunities.
So, here's my best example.
Hang on to the example. I want to take a quick break here.
Okay, let me write it down. I'm forgetful. Okay, I'll hang on.
I want to give an example of that. I want to move through it.
Sure.
By the way, you can get a lot of this information on Irv's website. Not told as well, but they're in black and white.
Absolutely.
www.irvsells.ca. That's all one word, irvsells.ca. Or you can call Irv, 790-3753, 790-3753. Back with more of Inside Real Estate with Irv Tremblay from Century 21 after this.